Welcome back. Arizona's energy needs in the next decade are immense. Between a growing population, AI, and a proliferation of data centers, we've got to get on the ball when it comes to energy. And some estimates suggest that we're going to need 25% more power by 2030, 78% more by 2050. So to say that we are in peak energy demand would be an understatement. APS is trying to meet the growing demand, and they've got plans to develop, for one, a robust natural gas plant west of Gila Bend. Jacob Tetlow is the Chief Operating Officer at APS and the Executive Vice President as well. Jacob, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, John. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Good to see you. Tell me about the plant near Buckeye. That is a big deal, and it would be paid, which is the most interesting part to me, by the large use customers. That would be the data centers, the people who need this more robust, as I mentioned earlier, energy.
That's right. You know, we're excited about this power plant. If you recall, a few months ago, we announced a large natural gas pipeline coming to Arizona. Arizona currently has two that are at full capacity, so getting a third pipeline to Arizona really allows our state to grow. Now that we have that pipeline project announced and moving forward, it allowed us the ability to step forward and say, well, what do we do now that we have the ability to unlock more natural gas to the state? And that allows us to build the Desert Sun power plant. What's exciting about this power plant is it really is, kind of to your point, it's about investing in the future for the state of Arizona. This is how Arizona grows. We all know we have unprecedented growth. We have never in the history of APS had to look at growth like we do today. It's exciting in many ways. And so when you think about preparing for the future, serving that growth, we need additional resources. And we're very proud about the portfolio and the diverse set of resources we have today, but it also requires more natural gas in that equation.
You know,
what's exciting? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, when I looked at the array of what we use for power in this state, this is from the U.S. Energy Administration, natural gas is 45% of Arizona's energy. Palo Verde nuclear is 27%. Solar is 13%. Wind is 2%. So combined, solar and wind are only 15%. I know it's important, but it's not going to be the backbone of the energy grid. That is obvious.
Yeah, that's right. You know, and we talk about the value of diversity. I mean, solar has its place, wind has its place, batteries has a place. Baseload coal, baseload nuclear. Natural gas is actually, as you articulated, they're a pretty substantial part of the portfolio because it provides flexibility. You can turn it on and off very quickly. It complements the wind. It actually allows you to put more wind and solar on the system. And when we think about Desert Sun Power Plant, we broke it into two phases. Phase one is really focused on that growth that we have in the state already. In our load forecast, I mean, we saw 32,000 meters set in 2024. That's the most robust meter residential growth that we've seen in 10 years. So we still have strong growth in small business, medium business, and residential. But when you get to the big mega customers, those extra large data centers, phase two of this power plant is designed really around serving them. But what's interesting is we want to make sure that they're going to pay for it. It's big infrastructure investment to serve data centers. And the model we're calling it a subscription model, allows them to contribute funds to help build that resource and give us financial certainty that they're going to be there for us. Because there's really two priorities we have at APS. One is we won't do anything that compromises reliability to the grid. Reliability comes first and foremost. We know it gets to be 118 degrees. I've grown up here. You can't survive in the desert without air conditioning and energy, especially in the summer. And then the second guiding principle is we're not going to raise rates for residential customers because we're serving data centers.
Can you speak, Jacob, to natural gas and carbon footprint? Everybody talks about this. Is natural gas, the way we do it in America, pretty clean?
Absolutely. And really, when you look at new natural gas with the efficiency gains that they've made, the pollution controls that we put on there, and even the carbon emissions, you know, natural gas is half that of coal. And so we've slowly reduced the size of our coal fleet. And in parallel, we're increasing some of the size of the gas fleet. But that's a net reduction in carbon emissions. and they come with the state-of-the-art pollution controls, and they're some of the most efficient units that are available on the market today.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me, when we're in a competitive environment with other states that are trying to court these data centers, and I'm sure you've talked to the governor's office about this, are there other states saying, we will pay for the energy that you need? Are there states kind of doing that? Because I see where you're coming from, make the companies pay for it, which I think ratepayers would appreciate. But in a competitive environment, are states saying, we'll pick up the freight for the energy, just move here?
Yeah, it's a little bit, it's got to break it almost into two parts, John. There's the first part, which is when the first data centers or large customers came to us, and we had capacity in the system, we agreed to serve them. And today we might only be serving, 400 megawatts out of an 8,000 megawatt. Data centers today are less than 5% of our system demand. But we have committed to serving them about 3,000 or 4,000 megawatts of that extra high load factor, which includes things like Taiwan Semiconductor, that includes data centers that we've committed to. And so any utility that has capacity available, it's a different question to serve them than it is if you say, oh no, I've used up pretty much all my spare capacity. Not all of it. We keep some for residential growth and things. But if you want to build these customers are very large. They're 1,000, sometimes 2,000 megawatts each. That's like an entire power plant to serve one data center.
Wow.
So that's a substantial lift in infrastructure. And now when we get to that point, we're saying growth has to pay for growth. That is not unique only to APS. Others are saying that in other states. What we think our model does, though, is it really gives them an opportunity to subscribe to a financial model that allows them to contribute to the project, gives us some certainty, and protects our residential customers. So it really is a good balance that allows them to move forward. And while we haven't finalized all those negotiations, we've seen a good, strong interest from data centers to subscribe to this model.
Okay, Arizona, in terms of affordability, in terms of electric costs, Arizona was ranked 28th out of the nation for lowest electricity costs at $152 per month. That's on average for a consumer. But in natural gas, we're first in natural gas costs, $69 a month. And that makes Arizona the second cheapest.
Yeah, and we're proud of the fact that we really, we focus on safety first, in our business, and then it's reliability, and then it's affordability. And we put a lot of work into making sure that our portfolio, the diversity of our portfolio, takes into account how do you make sure you maintain affordability for your customers. That's a high priority for us. We have a very robust low-income program, and we focus a lot on making sure that we keep our residential rates below that national average.
Can you just speak to, there's been such a push in the last 20 years for wind and solar here, but at night the sun doesn't shine and often the wind doesn't blow. So in terms of a backbone for the grid, can you speak to why it's so important to have a reliable energy source that is always cranking? And I think about Palo Verde. When it's up and running, you don't attenuate that plant, it's going full speed. And when that's on the grid, you don't sometimes need solar and wind.
That's right. You're exactly right. And you get to a point of, I call it diminishing returns. Our nuclear plant runs base load all the time. And this summer, it ran at full load, 24/7, all the way through the summer flawlessly. And that serves customers at night, during the day. When you get to solar and wind, obviously if the sun's not shining or the wind's not blowing, and while they're useful and they're low cost from an energy standpoint, they have to be backed up with something that's dispatchable. And that's really where actually solar complements wind, and both of those complement natural gas generation because you can turn it on and off. You have to do both. And that's really our position at APS, that if we want to grow this state, which I think we do, then we need to have dispatchable natural gas. That's why this pipeline and this power plant are so exciting for the future of our state. Okay,
so when wind and solar are generating, you may not need some of the natural gas, but if they are offline, there's no wind, it's 8 o'clock at night, there's no sunshine, then you need some base load to keep the grid stable, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. So you have this, natural gas is one of the best resources for flexibility because you can turn it on and off. I mean, We have some of these new state-of-the-art turbines that we're installing. You can be at full load from a cold machine in 8 minutes.
Oh, man.
And so these are
Unbelievable.
basically jet aircraft engines with generators
Yeah.
on them that can come on and off multiple times every day. I mean, you just don't get that flexibility.
Jacob, we've got a minute
solar.
left. I want to just ask you about the future of nuclear in Arizona, because again, we mentioned the Palo Verde is providing 27% of our power. Is there any plan right now to go big and build another major plant, or are we looking at small modular reactors? And those are still somewhat in their infancy.
Yeah, and the answer is yes. We're definitely interested. We are definitely working on nuclear. You know, we operate what was the largest nation's largest nuclear plant out at Palo Verde. So we have a lot of nuclear expertise. Nuclear has a place in the future for this country. I absolutely believe that. We do need to get the cost to somewhere where it doesn't create a cost problem for the customers that are going to be served by it. APS, along with our partners at SRP in Tucson, we've submitted some grant applications to do early site permit applications, and it includes both large-scale nuclear and small modular, because they serve different needs.
Yeah.
And both of them have a path forward, and I believe that nuclear will make a renaissance in our country.
Is it true that the site may not be to expand the Palo Verde footprint, but to maybe put this on the reservation, the Navajo lands?
Yeah, well, that site permit application I was talking about would probably look at 10 different sites across the state.
Okay.
It's really a function of where do you have water, where do you have transmission, where do you have a good workforce. You know, there's a lot of variables that go into siting a nuclear power plant, and that's probably a couple-year process. So while I'm excited that nuclear will be in our future, it's going to take a little bit of time to figure out what type of nuclear and where to put it.
Yep. So right now, natural gas is still the king.
Yep, that's right.
Okay, Jacob Tetlow, Chief Operating Officer, Executive Vice President at APS. Thank you for your time, Jacob. Very informative, and we'll have you back.
Sounds great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good to see you.
We're
back in a minute on Newsmaker. Thanks as always for watching, and we will see you next week on Newsmaker.